Yes. So today we are going to take the digestive system. So as a spiritual healer and Douglas therapist, we know supposed to know the only superficial way where we have to send our energy, where you have to focus, what causes the problem. For example, digestive system, if some vomiting, what is that vomiting, why it is happening, and like that few things will be should supposed to know, and our digestion, how it happens, not in so deep, but if you come across any of the patient, you can go deep into that particular system, so you have to cover all those which are causing the problem. I already sent the digestive PDF. That is very well in depth, but very interesting. You can all that student learn these things in 5.5 years. Okay, but we have a liberty to learn at any time, and for the syllabus purpose we study this much, and for the knowledge purpose we are open to the whole ocean of knowledge. So now again, as it is, we have collected many digestive systems videos. They cover, because sometimes they overlap the information, but why I added is something is not there in the other video, so I added it here. And another thing is, it is learning by 3-4 teachers at a time. 4 people are telling about one thing. So that's why when we were a student, we pet a few of the teachers. We pet to them, and they say he is taking very much interest in this subject. Likewise, there are 4 different sources. I have collected the digestive system video, and we'll again, as I was already thinking that 3 hours stretch is really a long, even for me, because my passion is to teach. I was teaching from 4th standard to 10th standard the computer science. So for me there is no problem. I understand that when I only listen back, it stretches me a lot. So evening session we will be taking it by 4 o'clock, 4 to 4:15, 5:15. Then we will see what else we can cover up. And today, since the portion is less, in the evening I will be telling about the homeopathy. Why homeopathy? Because our vibronics is mainly depend upon the law of similar, and we are using potentizer in our machine. We'll be talking about the potency also. What is that potency? Potency of the how X potency, C potency, LM potency. We'll think about it, because you have a dial named by that X and C and LM. So I will be explaining about it. How is it very similar? My total idea is, since the vibronics is a drugless therapy, we should make the parallel along with the homeopaths. We want to make a parallel alternative therapies just like homeopathy, but all remedies will be from vibronics only. I am also thinking about what are the remedies given in our numerical Mathematica. We club it together by the Ayurvedic and some Tibetan and some biochemic and germ therapies. We will separate that, and even in acupuncture also, we will separate that, and we see how that can be done through vibronics. So our journey will be going to be very great, and by the end of that, so we'll be, and even what I am thinking is, since you are all you have helped me, and even starting my institute, so we will have a regular session about different topic, and how that can be covered in our through our remedy. See, we will not only restrict about only for 3 months. We'll every week or any with your will take that particular topic which we think that we have not covered within 3 months, but we will be given all the knowledge and the certification will be done within 3 months, but the knowledge sharing will continue. And any new virus or any comes to our market, we will study how we can tackle it, how we can do it within our Vibronics. But today we are going to see all the digestive system, digestive tract, and all. We no need to worry about much about the diagnostic part, because everything will be done by the allopathic doctors or allopathic stream of science. They will come to you with everything ready reckoner by saying that I have this and this and this. I am not able to. I am also on the medication, and can you help me in this regard? They come in like that. I am already taking this for this one, and how can you help me to speed the recovery? So like that we will come across. But as we are a healer, what is happening? There's how much serious is this condition, his condition, that we should know. And in this serious condition, how we tackle till he goes to the doctor, till he goes to the hospital. Sometimes it happens so that we give the remedy and send him to the hospital. There it takes a lot of time. By the time he reaches there, he gets all right and comes back. He says, I am all right now, I don't need any medication. Like that. It has happened many times. But our duty is to, whatever with our best knowledge, we give our, just like first aid in our Vibronics or spiritual healing system, let them go to the doctor and then check. And whatever they are suggesting, let them to take along with our remedies. Okay. Now let us start with different videos, and sometime wherever I think it is a very interesting, I'll stop and talk about some remedies. And we see this is the biggest topic in the 108 combo. It has got up to 100 cc, 4.10 and 11, up to like that. So we can see there are different section in our therapeutic also. We'll study that also.
This information is for educational purposes only. It is not. Not intended to substitute for professional medical advice and should not be interpreted to contain treatment recommendations.
As I told you, these you will find everywhere. And we also say that our machine is not a substitute for any qualified medicinal advice. And also said everything, and even you all signed the Google form saying that this is not a medical course. Okay, so like that, it is all a disclaimer that, oh yes, someone should not claim that I studied all medical science, I can operate on somebody. So it's not like that. You have all our authority to have knowledge. Knowledge is open to everybody. Knowledge in this, having knowledge is a birthright to everyone.
Your digestive system consists of all the organs involved in breaking down the food you eat, absorbing nutrients and eliminating waste products. When you take a bite of food, your digestive system is activated automatically. In the stomach, the food is broken down into smaller pieces and digestive juices are added. The now liquid food is passed on to the small intestine, where the nutrients are absorbed and digested. In the large intestine, also called the colon, water and salts are absorbed, causing the waste products to become firmer and turn into stool. The stool is then pushed through the intestine towards the rectum by a series of muscle contractions known as peristalsis. You have 3 to 4 major peristaltic movements each day. The time it takes for food to pass through your digestive system is called the transit time. The average transit time for females is 2.4 days and 1.9 days for males. When stool fills your rectum, nerve endings register that your bowel wall becomes distended and a signal is sent to your brain telling you that it's time to find a toilet. At the same time, your internal sphincter relaxes by reflex and stool moves down towards the anus. When you are ready, you consciously allow the external sphincter to relax and stool is expelled. In between going to the toilet, both the internal and the external anal sphincter are contracted to keep you continent and to prevent leakage.
Thank you for taking the time to view this module.
Of mechanical and chemical action. The digestive system. Our digestive system is a combination of mechanical and chemical actions. Imagine putting your food in a petri dish, chopping it up and exposing it to a bunch of chemicals and microbes. Can you imagine what it would look like in the end? This is what the digestive system does. Mouth. The journey down the alimentary canal begins in the mouth. Here, the food is broken down into smaller chewable pieces. Chewing breaks the food into pieces while the saliva mixes with food to begin the process of breaking it down into a form your body can absorb and use. Rolling action of the tongue and secretion of saliva rolls food into a bolus. The saliva contains water, electrolytes, antibacterial components and enzymes such as the amylase. Amylase converts carbohydrates into sugars. Throat. The throat is the region where the mouth cavity and the nasal passages join. Swallowing pushes the food through the throat, or pharynx, and into the esophagus. An important function of the throat is that it prevents the food from entering into the trachea, more commonly known as the windpipe. When the food enters our throat, the larynx, or our voice box, closes. This results in epiglottis covering the entrance of the trachea, or windpipe. The epiglottis is a flap of tissue. Esophagus. Now that the food has reached the esophagus, a wave of smooth muscle contractions occurs, pushing the food into the stomach. These smooth muscle movements are called peristalsis. The importance of sphincter muscles. 3 types of sphincter muscles help in the digestive system. Here, at the junction of the esophagus and the stomach, is a thick ring of circular, smooth muscle that prevents the movement of food pass from esophagus into the stomach. It is called the esophageal sphincter. Another sphincter muscle, the pyloric sphincter, directs the passage of food from the stomach into the intestine. The third sphincter muscle surrounds the anus, stomach. Most of us eat our food in a matter of minutes, but digesting it can take hours. One of the important functions of our stomach is to store food until it is digested. Food can be stored here for 2 to 6 hours. It also kills the microorganisms we consume unconsciously, along with our food, and begins the digestion of the proteins we took in our diet. The stomach secretes gastric juice, hydrochloric acid, water, mucus, pepsin, and renin that continue the process of breaking down the food. Pepsin is secreted as pepsinogen by cells in the gastric glands that are present in the deep folds of the stomach lining. Other cells in the gastric glands produce hydrochloric acid, which has a pH balance between 1 and 3. The low pH helps convert pepsinogen to pepsin and is also the right pH for pepsin's enzymatic action. Hydrochloric acid, or HCl, also helps break the bonds holding the ingested contents together. The breakdown of these food contents exposes more surface area to the action of pepsin and later to the other digestive enzymes in the small intestine. Mucus secreted by the stomach lines the walls of the stomach and protects them from being digested by HCl and pepsin. If this coating is eroded at some place of the stomach, for instance by the attack of bacteria Helicobacter pylori, it can cause an ulcer. Contractions of the smooth muscles in the walls of the stomach roll around its contents, mixing partly digested food with enzymes and acids. This acidic fluid mixture of gastric juice is called chyme. Peristaltic movements of the stomach walls push chyme towards the end of the stomach. These waves of peristalsis cause the pyloric sphincter to relax briefly so that very little amounts of chyme can enter the small intestine. In this way, our stomach empties itself gradually over a period of almost 4 hours. The small intestine works on a small amount of food at a time. We'll continue to explain the small intestine, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, down to colon and rectum in the next video. Actually, we were told to make this title into 2 parts so we can publish more. It's a cheat really, but a new project is kind of refreshing to our animators and designers, giving them some false sense of novelty and freedom. So at least we've got that going for us, which is nice.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम। क्या आपने कभी सोचा है कि इंसान के लिए खुराक यानी कि फ़ूड क्यों ज़रूरी है, और ये फ़ूड जो इतने कॉम्प्लेक्स पार्टिकल से मिलके बना होता है, आखिर कैसे छोटे छोटे पार्टिकल्स में ब्रेक डाउन हो जाता है। ये सब हमारी बॉडी में मौजूद एक प्रॉपर सिस्टम के थ्रू होता है। कॉम्प्लेक्स पार्टिकल्स शामिल होते हैं जैसा कि कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स, प्रोटीन्स और फैट्स वगैरह। डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम में मौजूद ऑर्गन्स इन कॉम्प्लेक्स पार्टिकल्स को सिंपल पार्टिकल्स में ब्रेक डाउन करते हैं ताकि हमारी बॉडी उस फूड से एनर्जी हासिल कर सके। ये एनर्जी बॉडी के तमाम सिस्टम्स को प्रॉपरली फंक्शन करने के लिए बेहद ज़रूरी होती है। डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम वेस्ट फूड को बॉडी से एक्सक्रीट करने में भी काम करता है। डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम एक मस्कुलर ट्रैक्ट या पैसेज वे है जिसके एक एंड पर माउथ और दूसरे एंड पर एनस मौजूद होता है। इस मस्कुलर ट्रैक्ट को गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक्ट, डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट या एलिमेंट्री कनाल भी कहा जाता है। गैस्ट्रोइंटेस्टाइनल ट्रैक्ट में बहुत से हॉलो ऑर्गन्स एक लंबी सीरीज में आपस में कनेक्ट हुए होते हैं। ये ऑर्गन्स फूड को ब्रेक डाउन करने, इसेंशियल न्यूट्रिएंट्स जैसे कि शुगर और प्रोटीन्स वगैरह की ब्लड में ट्रांसपोर्टेशन और वेस्ट फूड को बॉडी से एक्सक्रीट आउट करने में मदद करते हैं। इन ऑर्गन्स में माउथ, ईसोफेगस, स्टमक, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन, लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन और एनस शामिल हैं। इनके अलावा लिवर, पैंक्रियाज, गाल ब्लेडर और कुछ ग्लैंड्स भी फूड की डाइजेशन में अपना किरदार अदा करते हैं। एक अडल्ट ह्यूमन की एलिमेंट्री कनाल की लेंथ 30 फीट यानी कि 9 मीटर्स तक हो सकती है। तो आइए अब 1 बाय 1 इन सारे ऑर्गन्स को डिटेल में स्टडी करते हैं। नंबर 1, माउथ। माउथ डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट का पहला ऑर्गन है। जैसे ही आप फूड का पहला बाइट अपने माउथ में डालते हैं, डाइजेशन उसी वक्त से शुरू हो जाती है। माउथ को ओरल या बकल कैविटी भी कहा जाता है और इसमें 3 पार्ट्स शामिल हैं जिनमें टीथ, टंग और सैलिवरी ग्लैंड्स शामिल हैं। ये पार्ट्स फूड को फिजिकली डाइजेस्ट करते हैं। टंग यानी कि ज़ुबान एक मस्कुलर ऑर्गन है जो फूड को टेस्ट करने में हेल्प करती है। इसके अलावा ज़ुबान फूड को रोल करने और निगलने में भी मदद करती है, जबकि टीथ फूड की ग्राइंडिंग और क्रशिंग करके फूड को छोटे छोटे पीसेस में कन्वर्ट कर देते हैं ताकि फूड आसानी से डाइजेस्ट हो सके। इस प्रोसेस को मैस्टिकेशन कहते हैं। माउथ में मौजूद तीसरा अहम पार्ट सैलिवरी ग्लैंड्स हैं जो पेयर की फॉर्म में हमारे ईयर्स के फ्रंट पे ज़ुबान के नीचे और लोअर जा के करीब मौजूद होते हैं। सैलिवरी ग्लैंड सलाइवा प्रोड्यूस करते हैं जो फूड को ल्यूब्रिकेट करता है ताकि उसको चबाना और निगलना आसान हो सके। सलाइवा एक ट्रांसपेरेंट लिक्विड है जिसमें 2 ख़ास एंजाइम्स मौजूद होते हैं जिनमें अमाइलेज और लाइसोजाइम शामिल हैं। अमाइलेज जिसे टाइलिन भी कहा जाता है, ये एंजाइम फूड में मौजूद कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की डाइजेशन का काम करता है, जबकि लाइसोजाइम एंजाइम्स फूड में मौजूद बैक्टीरिया और फंजाई को किल करते हैं। जिससे माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिजम्स हमारे माउथ में ग्रो नहीं कर सकते और हम बहुत सी बीमारियों से बच जाते हैं। लिहाजा ये कहना बिल्कुल भी गलत ना होगा कि सलाइवा हमारी ओरल हाइजीन के लिए इंतहाई ज़रूरी होता है। एक नॉर्मल हेल्दी पर्सन में 24 घंटों में तकरीबन 1 से 1.5 लीटर तक सलाइवा प्रोड्यूस होता है। माउथ में फूड की पार्शियल डाइजेशन होती है और पार्शियली डाइजेस्टेड फूड को बोलस कहते हैं। नंबर 2, फेरिंक्स। बोलस हमारे माउथ से पास होकर हमारे डाइजेस्टिव सिस्टम के सेकंड ऑर्गन यानी कि फेरिंक्स में इंटर हो जाता है। फेरिंक्स को थ्रोट भी कहा जाता है और ये माउथ और इसोफेगस को आपस में कनेक्ट करने वाला एक पैसेज है। ये एक ऐसा पैसेज है जिससे फूड और एयर दोनों गुजरते हैं। नंबर 3, इसोफेगस। पार्शियली डाइजेस्टेड फूड यानी कि बोलस फेरिंक्स से पास होकर इसोफेगस में इंटर हो जाता है। इसोफेगस को फूड पाइप भी कहा जाता है और ये 25 सेंटीमीटर लंबा और 1.5 से 2 सेंटीमीटर तक चौड़ा एक मस्कुलर पैसेज है, जिसके एक एंड पर फेरिंक्स और दूसरे एंड पर स्टमक कनेक्ट हुआ होता है। ह्यूमन बॉडी में फूड पाइप के साथ ही विंड पाइप भी मौजूद होता है। जब हम सांस लेते हैं तो एयर हमारे माउथ से होकर विंड पाइप से गुजरकर लंग्स में चली जाती है। इसके बरक्स फूड को विंड पाइप में जाने से रोकने के लिए विंड पाइप की ओपनिंग पर एक कवर मौजूद होता है जिसे एपिग्लोटिस कहते हैं। फूड स्वेलो करने के दौरान ये एपिग्लोटिस विंड पाइप को कवर करता है और टंग बोलस को पुश करके फूड पाइप में इंटर कर देती है। ये फूड इसोफेगस में मस्कुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस के थ्रू स्टमक तक पहुंच जाता है। इन मस्कुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस को पेरिस्टालिसिस कहा जाता है। इसोफेगस के एंड पर एक मस्कुलर वाल्व प्रेजेंट होता है जिसे स्फिंक्टर कहते हैं। पार्शियली डाइजेस्टेड फूड जब स्टमक के अंदर कम्प्लीटली इंटर हो जाता है तो ये वाल्व बंद हो जाता है और लिक्विड्स और सॉलिड फूड को वापस मुंह की तरफ आने से रोकता है। अगर यही मस्कुलर कॉन्ट्रैक्शंस रिवर्स में शुरू हो जाएं तो उसे एंटी पेरिस्टालिसिस कहते हैं, इसकी वजह से वॉमिटिंग शुरू हो जाती है। नंबर 4, स्टमक। स्टमक एक सैक लाइक जे शेप्ड मस्कुलर ऑर्गन है जो डायफ्राम के नीचे और एब्डोमेन में अपर लेफ्ट साइड पे प्रेजेंट होता है। स्टमक के नीचे लीफ शेप्ड ग्लैंड प्रेजेंट होता है जिसे पैंक्रियास का नाम दिया गया है। स्टमक के सामने लिवर प्रेजेंट होता है। लिवर के नीचे और एब्डोमेन में राइट साइड पर एक पियर शेप्ड ऑर्गन प्रेजेंट होता है जिसे गाल ब्लेडर कहते हैं। स्टमक पार्शियली डाइजेस्टेड फूड यानी कि बोलस को टेम्पररीली होल्ड करता है और उसकी कंप्लीट ब्रेक डाउन करता है ताकि ये फूड ब्लड में इजीली ट्रांसपोर्ट हो सके और इससे एनर्जी जनरेट हो। इसोफेगस और स्टमक की इनर वॉल्स पर एक थिन मेम्ब्रेन मौजूद होती है जिसे म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन कहते हैं। स्टमक में इस मेम्ब्रेन का नाम गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकोसा होता है और इसमें प्रेजेंट एपिथेलियल सेल्स गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकस सिक्रीट करते हैं। ये गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकस न सिर्फ फूड की ल्यूब्रिकेशन और ब्रेक डाउन में हेल्पफुल होता है बल्कि इसके साथ साथ स्टमक की इनर लाइनिंग्स को एसिड से प्रोटेक्ट करने का काम भी करता है। गैस्ट्रिक म्यूकोसा के एपिथेलियल सेल्स म्यूकस सिक्रीशन के अलावा मुख्तलिफ गैस्ट्रिक जूसेस भी रिलीज करते हैं। ये गैस्ट्रिक जूसेस फूड में मौजूद कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स और प्रोटीन्स की डाइजेशन में अहम रोल अदा करते हैं। एक दिन में तकरीबन 1.2 से 1.5 लीटर तक गैस्ट्रिक जूसेस रिलीज होते हैं। गैस्ट्रिक जूस में बहुत से कंपोनेंट्स शामिल हैं जैसा कि हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड, इलेक्ट्रोलाइट्स और एक खास प्रोटीन डाइजेस्टिंग एंजाइम जिसे पेप्सिन कहते हैं। हाइड्रोक्लोरिक एसिड की वजह से गैस्ट्रिक जूस की पीएच हाईली एसिडिक होती है। इन गैस्ट्रिक जूसेस की मदद से और स्टमक की चर्निंग एक्शन की वजह से बोलस एक येलो थिक क्रीमी लिक्विड में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है जिसे काइम कहते हैं। स्टमक बहुत से सब्सटेंसेस एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है जैसा कि ग्लूकोज, सिंपल शुगर्स और अमाइनो एसिड्स वगैरह। इसोफेगस के एंड की तरह स्टमक के एंड पर भी एक मस्कुलर वाल्व मौजूद होता है जिसे पाइलोरस कहते हैं। इस वाल्व के ओपन होने से काइम स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में इंटर हो जाता है। जैसे ही स्टमक इम्पटी होता है तो पाइलोरस वाल्व बंद हो जाता है ताकि फूड रिफ्लक्स यानी कि स्टमक में फूड की वापसी न हो सके। नंबर 5, स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन। काइम की अगली मंजिल स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन होती है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन जिसे हम अपनी ज़ुबान में छोटी आंत भी कहते हैं, ये हमारे एब्डोमेन में मौजूद 22 से 25 फीट लॉन्ग एक लूजली कोइल्ड मस्कुलर ट्यूब है जिसका डायमीटर तकरीबन 2 इंच तक होता है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन के 3 पार्ट्स होते हैं जिनमें ड्यूडेनम, जिजुनम और इलियम शामिल हैं। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन पैंक्रियाटिक जूस और बाइल की मदद से काइम को फर्दर डाइजेस्ट करने में हेल्प करती है। पैंक्रियाटिक जूस पैंक्रियास से रिलीज होता है और इसमें ऐसे एंजाइम्स होते हैं जो काइम में मौजूद प्रोटीन्स, फैट्स और कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स की ब्रेक डाउन करते हैं, जबकि बाइल हमारे लिवर में प्रोड्यूस होता है और गाल ब्लेडर में स्टोर होता रहता है। ये बाइल डाइजेशन के दौरान गाल ब्लेडर से बाइल डक्ट के थ्रू स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में रिलीज होता है। बाइल काइम में मौजूद फैट्स की डाइजेशन में अहम किरदार अदा करता है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन के पोर्शन ड्यूडेनम में काइम की मिक्सिंग और डाइजेशन होती है, जबकि जिजुनम और इलियम पार्ट से डाइजेस्टेड फूड ब्लड में एब्जॉर्ब होता है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन की इंटरनल लाइनिंग में एक खास किस्म के स्ट्रक्चर्स प्रेजेंट होते हैं जिन्हें विलाय कहते हैं। अगर विलाय के इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर को देखा जाए तो इसमें ब्लड वेसल्स का एक नेटवर्क मौजूद होता है। ये विलाय स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन का सरफेस एरिया इंक्रीज करते हैं ताकि फूड ब्लड में मुकम्मल तौर पर एब्जॉर्ब हो सके। इस तरह स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन में फूड की मुकम्मल डाइजेशन के बाद फूड का मैक्सिमम पोर्शन ब्लड में एब्जॉर्ब हो जाता है, जबकि फूड की डाइजेशन से प्रोड्यूस होने वाला वेस्ट स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन से मूव करके लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन में पहुंच जाता है। नंबर 6, लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन। लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन, जिसे हम अपनी ज़ुबान में बड़ी आंत भी कहते हैं, ये 5 to 6 फीट लॉन्ग मस्कुलर ट्यूब है। इसको लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन इसलिए कहा जाता है क्योंकि ये लेंथ में तो बेशक स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन से छोटी होती है, लेकिन इसका डायमीटर यानी कि चौड़ाई स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन से बड़ी होती है, जो कि तकरीबन 3 इंच तक होती है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन की तरह लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन को भी 3 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड किया जाता है, जिनमें सीकम, कॉलन और रेक्टम शामिल हैं। सीकम लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन का फर्स्ट पार्ट है, जबकि कॉलन पार्ट सीकम को रेक्टम के साथ कनेक्ट करता है। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन से फूड वेस्ट ट्रैवल करके सीकम और फिर कॉलन में मूव कर जाता है। कॉलन में वेस्ट में मौजूद एक्सेसिव साल्ट्स और वाटर एब्जॉर्ब होकर ब्लड स्ट्रीम में इंटर हो जाते हैं, जिससे फूड वेस्ट सॉलिड फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है। इसके अलावा कॉलन में मौजूद बैक्टीरिया फूड वेस्ट को मज़ीद ब्रेक डाउन करते हैं, जिससे वेस्ट मुकम्मल डिग्रेड हो जाता है। इस स्टेज पे फूड वेस्ट को स्टूल या फीसिस का नाम दिया जाता है। कॉलन से आगे लार्ज इंटेस्टाइन का थर्ड पार्ट शुरू होता है, जिसे रेक्टम कहते हैं। कॉलन दिन में 1 से 2 बार स्टूल को रेक्टम की तरफ डिलीवर करता है। रेक्टम 8 इंच का एक चैम्बर है जो कॉलन और एनस को आपस में कनेक्ट करता है। कॉलन से स्टूल रिसीव करना, उसे टेम्परेरीली स्टोर करना और इसे बॉडी से एक्सक्रीट करना रेक्टम के अहम फंक्शंस में शामिल है। नंबर 7, एनस। डाइजेस्टिव ट्रैक्ट का लास्ट पार्ट एनस है। एनस 2 एनल स्फिंक्टर मसल्स पे मुश्तमिल होता है, जिनमें इंटरनल और एक्सटर्नल स्फिंक्टर मसल्स शामिल हैं। एनस के अपर पोर्शन की लाइनिंग में एक खास सेंसर मौजूद होते हैं जो स्टूल कंटेंट को डिटेक्ट करके ब्रेन को सिग्नल सेंड करते हैं कि ये स्टूल सॉलिड, लिक्विड या गैस किस फॉर्म में है। जबकि एनल स्फिंक्टर मसल स्टूल की इवैक्यूएशन यानी कि बॉडी से एक्सक्रीशन को कंट्रोल करते हैं, क्योंकि ब्रेन से स्टूल रिलीज के सिग्नल्स रिसीव होने पर रेक्टम कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करता है और स्फिंक्टर मसल्स रिलैक्स करते हैं, जिससे वेस्ट आसानी से बॉडी से एक्सक्रीट हो जाता है। इसके बरक्स अगर ब्रेन से स्टूल रिलीज के सिग्नल्स रिसीव ना हो तो रेक्टम रिलैक्स जबकि स्फिंक्टर मसल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रहते हैं। इस तरह स्टूल रेक्टम में ही स्टोर रहता है। यही वजह है कि जब हम सो रहे होते हैं तो हमारे इंटरनल स्फिंक्टर मसल्स कॉन्ट्रैक्टेड फॉर्म में रहते हैं ताकि हमें बाथरूम ना आ सके, जबकि इंटरनल स्फिंक्टर मसल्स की रिलैक्सेशन होने से हमें बाथरूम की ज़रूरत पड़ती है, जिस दौरान स्टूल को टेम्परेरीली होल्ड करने के लिए हमारे एक्सटर्नल स्फिंक्टर मसल्स अहम रोल अदा करते हैं। तो होप सो आज की इस वीडियो से आपको कुछ ना कुछ ज़रूर नया जानने को मिला होगा। मैं आपसे मिलूँगा अपकमिंग वीडियो में किसी नए टॉपिक के साथ। तब तक के लिए अल्लाह हाफिज़। स्मॉल इंटेस्टाइन से फूड वेस्ट ट्रैवल करके सीकम और फिर
in this whole video, one thing they have not covered, that is the appendix. This is the part of appendix. So God, why he made this appendix, no one knows. Because this portion, whatever, whenever this it is the food entering from the small intestine to the large intestine, and often we see that many people got this operated after getting inflamed, having small stones, or whatever was stones, not produced stones, whatever we take in the form of food, our hair, that is stored in this appendix. So when this itis, any itis means inflammation. So generally this appendix get I think so. Everyone is seeing my cursor or no?
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this portion is the appendix, and when we get inflamed due to the external dust, or you can say hairs and whatever we eat accidentally, that come and collect here, and a natural mechanism will be there to clean, but still it's get inflamed, and what happens, the pus formation will be there, and then it is an actually dangerous thing, but it can be prevented in the beginning stage. So one get the pain, exactly the appendix pain, how to identify, because appendix and kidney stones, they are exactly similar. Also the gallstones, all these pains are slightly, if you able to track it, then you will be able to identify how we have to, if the appendix pain, how it is identified. Just take the umbilicus, put 4 fingers towards your right, then 4 fingers towards down from that portion. We will explain when you are going into the diagnostic part. If anything is there, we will see, but I will definitely I will show in another this what you call digestive systems PDF is there. In that one clearly it is mentioned. I will show you that I know where are these portions are located, where are this stomach is located. So we will be able to see there and guess. So if someone gets a pain, from where the pain is coming. Okay. So very interesting. Sometimes pancreatic pain is so horrible that the maximum one gets the pain from the pancreatitis. So if the pancreas getting inflamed, so that we will study. We will study that. So, and liver gets pain. What is the now we will see what is the function of liver in the next videos. Here I think so no one can cover this appendix. So I wanted to say that because it's the most frequently we get. And also remember that one specific remedy is there for this appendix, is called as iris tenax. Iris tenax is a remedy. When you study in that one, it is clearly mentioned that right side just below the umbilicus we get a pain, that is iris tenax, one of the wonderful remedy for this appendicitis.
Liver blood supply. The liver is a 1.3 to 3.0 kilograms weighing, soft, pinkish brown organ that is...
Here you need to know that we say, we in our routine practice we have seen, if anybody has got a liver problem, that time anybody takes the antibiotic, that worsen the liver problem. It happened so in our own relative, he was having a liver failure, but at the same time he got some dental issue. When that doctor, he did not, means because it was not his department, so he did not worry about it. he did not worry about the liver problem, and for his dental issues, he is prescribed the antibiotic. But already he was in a very horrible condition in the liver, but he did not ask it, so he expired within 3-4 days. It happens like that because they see all entities are all in a different entities. Liver is different, or no, it is a hepatologist, or you can say, or you can gastroenterologist. He says this is only my part. Okay, I have seen this. Of course, they all sit all together and decide. That's fine. That's in the rare cases. Otherwise, they miss like that. So they only treat that part. So they call it as a Newtonian way of looking into bits and pieces all separately. Look separately at the digestive system. We will see how we have seen in the previous videos also that while passing the stool, that gives a signal to the brain, and that the brain senses that yes, it is full and I need to excrete. And also you see that when you're sleeping, it closes and not gives a signal. So nicely it is done. If signal given at the wrong time, what will happen? So like that is a nervous system. So all nervous system, we see that that nerve these things are passes through the different vertebrae, controlling vertebrae. So it's very interesting to know. So all are linked. But here, in the beauty of this, that our vibronics, or you can say homeopathy, it takes the totality in total. What is happening? If someone is not getting, if a constipation is there, not able to pass, then that system will also help in the digestive tract, also in the nervous system. So like that, when something is proved, I'll talk if time permits in the evening about the homeopathy. So nicely designed. So the wonderful principle, like means how that medicine has created the situation, same situation if we have without any external drugs, it is come naturally. If we give that particular remedy, that's going to cure. So here our remedies like vibronics or homeopathy works on totality. So because I wanted to say here, in case of any liver problem can be easily identified. How? You can see the eyes if they are yellow, check for send for the LFT. So at least so go to at least what is happening with him. Whether nowadays the blood reports are so clear, whatever is not in sync, or you can say not below or above the normal range, they make a bold letter. So looking at it also is very easy, and you will also find that how it is deviated from the original value. The original value, how it is deviated. With that, you will be able to assess that person whether he is serious or can be managed like that. So anyway, all the persons, we can even direct to the whichever your senior, you can say. You already told you some of this group healers will have one senior doctor. He will solve their problem. Means if in case of any doubt, I have received this case, how I should go about. Like that also you can consult with the mentor. So this I will allot the person based on your area. Then we can see whether what we are taking problem, we are taking a disease, is it a serious to be addressed immediately or should be sent to a qualified doctor, or whether it can, anyway they let them do their own job. We will give our own remedies because they are all drugless totally. There will be either, see, we have to be very careful. Only when some people think a tiny sugar pill will increase their blood sugar. It is definitely not like that. We are going to infuse the thoughts, or you can say energies, in the pills or sugar pills or in water. So in case of any sugar patient or a diabetes patient, try to give in the plain water. Okay, so let us see what the job of the liver and where we should be very cautious.
Responsible for a whole range of functions, including drug detoxification, glycogen storage, protein synthesis, and the production of bile, which is necessary for digestion. Before diving into the liver's blood supply, it would be helpful to revisit the anatomy of the largest internal organ of the human body very briefly. The human liver can be grossly divided into two lobes, a right and a left, by the falciform ligament. There are two additional lobes that can only be seen from behind. The quadrate is situated between the gallbladder and the round ligament, while the caudate lobe is found facing caudally between the inferior vena cava, the ligamentum venosum, and the porta hepatis. It must be kept in mind that a lot of anatomists classify these two lobes as the subparts of the right lobe of the liver. The blood supply of the liver involves two major vessels, the portal vein and the hepatic artery. Hepatic tissue receives oxygenated blood via the hepatic artery, whilst the portal vein collects the deoxygenated blood from the gastrointestinal tract, spleen, and pancreas, filters it in the liver, eliminates toxins, and processes the nutrients it absorbs from the gastrointestinal tract. Let's look at both systems one by one. Hepatic artery. The hepatic artery contributes about 30% of the entire hepatic blood supply. The celiac trunk, arising at the level of T12 from the abdominal aorta, gives rise to three arteries: the left gastric artery, the splenic artery, and the common hepatic artery that will supply blood to the liver. The common hepatic artery travels retroperitoneally towards the right in the hepatoduodenal ligament of the liver and divides into gastroduodenal artery below, which supplies the stomach or gastro, and the duodenum and proper hepatic arteries, which supply the liver. The proper hepatic artery branches into the right and left hepatic arteries that supply the liver's right and left lobes respectively. The right hepatic artery gives off an important branch called the cystic artery to supply the gallbladder and the cystic duct. Hepatic portal vein. The portal vein contributes about 70% of the hepatic blood supply, but all of the blood is deoxygenated. Hepatic portal vein is located in the abdominal cavity and is formed by the union of the splenic veins and the superior mesenteric vein that channel the deoxygenated blood from the spleen, gastrointestinal tract, and its accessory organs to the liver. The veins that contribute to the splenic vein include the pancreatic veins, the left gastroepiploic vein, the short gastric veins, and the inferior mesenteric vein with its branches. The second component of this merger, the superior mesenteric vein, collects blood from the ileal veins, the jejunal veins, the ileocolic veins, the middle and right colic veins, the anterior inferior, anterior superior, posterior inferior, pancreatic coduodenal vein, the right gastroepiploic vein. Few veins drain directly into the portal vein, including the left and right gastric veins, the posterior superior pancreatic coduodenal vein, and the cystic vein. One must keep in mind that the portal venous system enables the blood from one set of capillary beds to be drained into another set of capillary beds without first returning to the heart. The hepatic portal system links the capillary bed of the gastrointestinal tract with its counterpart of the liver. From the gastrointestinal tract, the blood that is rich in nutrients is first brought to the liver for processing. In the liver, amino acids and monosaccharides are either stored or used to make new proteins and carbohydrates. The liver filters the toxins that might have been absorbed with the food, and also removes vitamins and cofactors from the blood for storage. When the body needs the stored substances, they are released back into the circulation via the central veins. The blood flowing through the liver tissue empties into the central vein of each hepatic lobule. The central vein of each lobule merges into the interlobular vein, which then coalesce together to form mainly three hepatic veins and bring the deoxygenated blood to inferior vena cava just before it passes up through the diaphragm and travels back to the heart. That's how the liver is able to maintain its dual blood supply. From this, the three takeaways are: the hepatic portal vein supplies 70% of the blood to the liver, while the hepatic arteries supply the remaining 30%. Hepatic arteries supply oxygenated blood to the liver, while the portal vein brings deoxygenated blood along with the nutrients and substances from the gastrointestinal tract. The hepatic portal system connects the capillaries of the gastrointestinal tract with the capillaries in the liver. From the gastrointestinal tract, the blood that is rich in nutrients is brought to the liver for processing before return to the heart.
Now it is very clear. I'll just I will recap this. What the liver does. Liver mainly does a detoxification and absorption of nutrition and other vitamins and everything that from the intestine. You have seen the different vein system. It's going back to the liver. From the liver, there it absorbs all the nutrition, vitamins, and the other thing, and even detoxifies. Then sent to the heart for pumping back to the lungs for making it to oxygenate. So this is how it works, and so how wonderful, how important is the liver, and we have seen in our practical treatment that liver responds very quickly, and at the same time it deteriorates very fastly. So we should be very careful while no. Anyway, we careful means we should not. We don't have any part in stopping them to get it, but at least we should educate them. This is what is happening. So be careful and don't take too much chemicals, and depend on the natural sources, or you can say avoid all oily foods and all. That is a very, because we don't want to overload the liver. Let us see what is this.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
I think we already done it.
Let's summarize the important components of our human digestion. So food mostly contains carbs.
Yeah, here there is, I liked the theoretical part of it. Theoretical part is well explained. So I have chosen this video.
Which is sugars, proteins, which is useful in building muscle, and fats, which is storage of food. Digestion is breaking them down into their tiny components. What are those components? Well, the component of carbs is basically glucose. The component of proteins are made up of amino acids. And the components of fats is basically fatty acids and glycerol. Now, where do these things happen? Well, just from the colors, you can kind of see inside mouth, mostly the carbs digestion happens. Stomach is responsible for digesting proteins. And small intestine is the one that digests almost all of it, eventually breaking them down into their components. But you can see fats are mostly broken down in the small intestine. And once you have these broken down tiny components, they're all absorbed by the small intestine. Then they go into the blood, circulated through your body. Then what happens in the large intestine? Well, once all of these things are absorbed, the remaining stuff is sent into your large intestine. No breaking down, no absorption of any nutrients, but to absorb any remaining water. Our body wants water, so it's good to save that water. So we'll absorb any remaining water, send it back into your body, and now the remaining stuff, which is even more solid now, that is thrown out of your body through anus. So this is the overview of how digestion happens in your body. Now let's dig one step further. So now let's look at the different enzymes that break these things down. There are a lot of them. We'll only focus on the main ones. So in the mouth, the enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates is present in your saliva. And that's called salivary amylase. Or I'm just going to write it as amylase, but it's there in your saliva. It helps in breaking down carbs. Then the food goes into your esophagus, and then it pushes down into the stomach. And in the stomach is where your proteins start getting broken down. The enzyme that is produced in the stomach for breaking down proteins is called pepsin. And then the whole thing enters into your small intestine. In the small intestine, as I mentioned, again, all of these things get further broken down. To further break down proteins, the enzyme in the small intestine is trypsin. And the enzyme that breaks down fat in the small intestine is lipase. So these are the major enzymes that are responsible for breaking these things down. Finally, let's get down to one more level of detail. So in the stomach, we know there is pepsin that breaks down proteins now, right? But pepsin requires an acidic medium. It only works in acidic medium. So that's why your stomach produces acid, which you might be aware of. And this acid inside the stomach is called HCl, hydrochloric acid. But how do we ensure that the hydrochloric acid does not destroy your stomach itself? Well, to protect the lining of the stomach also produces mucus. Now this means the food that enters from the stomach into the small intestine is very acidic, and that causes a big problem because all the enzymes inside the small intestine, they do not work in the acidic medium. They require a basic medium. So that's problem number one. But there's a second problem. Remember, till now fats have not been broken down. And over here, fats are large molecules. It's very hard for the lipase enzyme to break down these fat. It's not very easy. So how do we solve for this problem? Well, this is where we are going to secrete another juice into our small intestine to make sure the whole thing becomes basic. And this juice is called bile juice. Where does the bile juice come from? It's not coming from the stomach. I don't have any more space to write over here, but it comes from our liver. So it's the liver that secretes bile juice, and what it does is it converts this whole medium into more alkaline, more basic medium. So it has become more basic. But it also solves the second problem. Remember how fats were not broken down till now and lipase has a very hard time breaking it down? Well, guess what? Bile also breaks down fat into small droplets. So bile also has that effect. It breaks down the fat into small droplets. This breaking down of fat into small droplets, we give a name to it. It's called emulsification. Some fancy names. Emulsification. It basically means breaking down of fat into small droplets. And now that you have broken it down into small droplets, lipase can nicely act on it and break it further down into fatty acids and glycerol. And here's one last final detail now to remember. Where does trypsin and lipase, where do they come from? Well, they are not produced by small intestine. They are produced in pancreas. So it's the pancreas that produce trypsin, that produce lipase. They secrete it into the small intestine, and then they start working their magic on breaking down these things. So there's a lot of action that's happening over here. So it all starts with pepsin needing acidic medium, because of which HCl is produced in the stomach. And then the liver produces bile juice, which makes it basic in the small intestine. This ensures the enzymes from the pancreas, the trypsin and lipase work, but additional benefit of bile is that it also emulsifies the fat. And finally, small intestine itself produces more enzymes to break down everything else into their component parts. And now all of this is absorbed by the small intestine. And to ensure maximum amount of absorption happens, the small intestine has these finger-like projections that increase the surface area, which are called villi. So this increases the surface area and it maximizes the chances of absorption so that maximum amount of nutrient is absorbed in our body. And then finally, whatever is left goes into the large intestine where water is reabsorbed. And then the solid mass is excreted through the anus.
Say you just ate a nice meal, a sandwich.
We have seen different part and how they are functioning, and we will see the further also. And what are the groups in our Mataji's combinations? They are working on this. We will see in the evening. Here also it is nicely explained, so that when you say something repeatedly, so we'll come to know the importance of it.
A box of juice or something like that. Have you ever wondered how the substances in your sandwich and in your juice are converted to energy and other substances that can be used by the cell? Well, that is taken care by the digestive system, and the process by which the complex substances in our food are converted to simpler substances is known as digestion. And once the food is digested, the simple molecules, now they can also be called nutrients, they are transported to all parts of the body by the blood, and the cells then use up the nutrients to perform various functions like produce energy, build new cells, etc. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the different parts of the digestive system. We're going to focus on the mouth, buccal cavity, the esophagus and the stomach. In another video, we'll talk about the small and large intestines and the accessory organs like the liver, gallbladder and pancreas. So you can think of the digestive system as one long tube that extends from the mouth to the anus. So the food, as we take it in through the mouth, spends a lot of is excreted out of the anus. So what happens to the food inside the mouth? First, let's take a look at that. So the mouth, that is also called the buccal cavity, is what is covered by your cheeks on both sides and the palates on the top and bottom down or chewed into smaller pieces. Apart from teeth, we also have a tongue, which is a muscular structure. The tongue also aids in chewing and mashing the food. Your tongue has taste buds that help you taste the food and chew and mash the food. Well, that's because of the saliva produced by the salivary glands. Saliva is mostly made up of water, but it also contains a substance known as salivary amylase. Now, the salivary amylase is an enzyme that begins the digestion of starch. Starch is a carbohydrate, as you know. So, you can say that the digestion of carbohydrate begins in the mouth itself. So this is why it's very important to chew and properly mash the food in our mouth before we swallow it, so that when we chew the food gets mixed with the saliva, mixed with the salivary amylase, which then begins the process of starch digestion. The large pieces of food that we eat, and as we chew it and mash it, and the bits of food that we swallow is known as the bolus. And from the buccal cavity, the bolus enters the esophagus through the pharynx. So next we'll take a look at the esophagus. So the esophagus is the tube that basically connects the buccal cavity, the back of your mouth, to the stomach. So here is the back of your mouth and the pharynx, and here is the stomach. The esophagus is around 10 centimeters long and around 3 centimeters wide. And it is layered with several layers of smooth muscles. Now, there is a structure known as epiglottis at the base of the pharynx here. This is a leaf-shaped structure. That's very important because it prevents the food from entering the trachea. So, at the pharynx, you have two tubes. One tube is the esophagus that goes to the stomach, and the other is the trachea that goes to the lungs. So what happens is that epiglottis makes sure that the food goes only into the block the airways and make it difficult, right? It's not just the esophagus. Basically, the entire digestive system is layered with several layers of smooth muscles, and these smooth muscles contract and relax, and as they are contracting and relaxing, the food bolus moves through the digestive system. So once we swallow from our buccal cavity and the food enters the esophagus, the muscles in the esophagus, they contract and relax, which pushes the food down the esophagus into the stomach. This movement of food down the esophagus, because of the contraction and relaxation of the smooth muscles, is known as peristalsis. So the size of the food bolus that we're swallowing. So what happens to the food in the stomach? Next we'll take a look at that. So the stomach is like a J-shaped organ situated at the base of the esophagus. At the base of the esophagus is a muscle known as the esophageal sphincter, which controls the amount of food entering the stomach. Now this rounded portion of the stomach close to the esophagus is known as the fundus, and this broad part of the stomach, that is known as the cardiac stomach, and this bent portion here, this rounded portion here, this is the pylorus or the pyloric stomach. Now, the stomach also has a layer of mucus that covers the entirety of the stomach. Why is this mucus layer important? That's because the gastric glands in the stomach produce hydrochloric acid or HCl. If you've been to the biology or chemistry lab, your teachers might have told you that hydrochloric acid is a highly dangerous, highly acidic acid, and they might have cautioned you not to touch it with your hands and to use caution when you're handling it. Then if it is so dangerous for us to touch, just imagine how sensitive it would be to our cells inside the body. So to protect the cells from this hydrochloric acid, the stomach has a layer of mucus. But why does our stomach even produce hydrochloric acid if it's such a dangerous substance? Well, that has to do with this enzyme pepsinogen. Now, pepsinogen is an inactive enzyme. It cannot function yet. It has to be converted into its active form, which is known as pepsin. For pepsinogen to be converted to pepsin, it needs a pH of around 1.5 to 3.5. It needs an acidic environment. And that acidic environment is what is provided by hydrochloric acid. So, in the acidic environment, in the presence of hydrochloric acid, pepsinogen is converted to pepsin. And now this active form pepsin begins to break down proteins. So proteins, as you know, are long molecules. They are extremely lengthy. So in the stomach, these lengthy proteins are broken down into smaller proteins. They are called peptones. But the complete digestion of proteins occurs in the small intestine only. In the stomach, the proteins are partially digested into peptones. So we can say that the partial digestion of carbohydrates, especially starch, occurs in the mouth itself with the help of the salivary amylase, and proteins, the partial digestion begins in the stomach itself with the help of pepsin. Apart from being involved in converting pepsinogen to pepsin, the hydrochloric acid in our stomach also kills bacteria and other harmful microorganisms that have entered the body through our food, thereby preventing any foodborne illnesses. In the stomach, the food spends around 40 minutes to 2 hours, and in this time, the smooth muscles in the stomach churn, like they mix the food thoroughly with hydrochloric acid and the gastric juices so that the proteins are digested into smaller peptones. And through the pyloric sphincter, the food enters the small intestine. We'll talk about the small intestine and the large intestine in another video.
The chyme is first introduced to the colon in a form of they support us with many beneficial products and is the case. Disorders inside the colon, the external sphincter to prevent any unwanted leaks, or the stool to move back to the colon, the abdominal muscle contracts to increase the inside pressure of the ureter and erectile canal, lessens the pressure required to pass the stool and makes the overall process faster. And that's the end of our journey through the alimentary canal. Thank you for being patient and excited during our long trip.
Now we will see that position of our organ. Okay, from this we will see what are the position where it is, so that we can identify. This is the notes I have sent you already, so you can go through in your, I do like that. Instead of reading newspaper, I go into this. So because our main aim is to help our patient, help our the person who approaches us for a help. Okay, so anything new I go to, I will just show you the position of the other organs. These all they're in very detail, so please go through this. Whenever it is not in the syllabus, or you can say It is out of syllabus item. I just purchased from the internet. So for all our systems are available here. I will send you one by one if you can go in the detail of it. Yeah. So this is also I wanted to tell you. See, these are the different spinal cord. I was telling, this our nervous system is also involved in the digestive system. So here we can see that cervical region, these are the nerves going through this area, cervical area. What all it does? These are the function it does from the cerebrum, and you can say spinal cord and the sacral spine. It is there. It is already recording is on, and you can. I already supplied you this book. We can go through. Yes, this is the most important one. Why we must know that where it is located in our abdomen, because we can't see transparently how where is where and all it is located. You can see, you will see it here in some more clearer way. See where the rib ends, at the end of it you will get that is got a gallbladder, and stomach is covers this area. So there is an appendix, you can see it here. From here 4 fingers and down to 4 fingers, and generally we feel pain at this area. From this is a navel, from navel 4 fingers like this and 4 fingers down. In this area we get a painful. Then we can say that this is a appendix pain. It's a very severe, it will be very severe, and you see is already mentioned here in appendix. This notes is already supplied to you. So where all you get a pain? See, it is a large intestine passing the navel. So in the and all the small intestine it is in the middle. So this is the stomach, and this will be the upper portion will be heart, and the below you can see here pancreas and the spleen. So these are the placement of the organs, of the digestive organs. So where with this we will be able to assess where is the problem. Okay, and you can feel the enlargement of a spleen and a liver. See this spleen and liver in the right left side of the ribs you will be able to touch and see, and even liver. The right side of a body we can check, we will be able to locate, and if it is enlarged, and you will be able to easily identify the things. Okay, with this we will end this session of the digestive system and their replacement, and the evening we will study what are the disorders of this digestive system. Everything as per the Ayurveda, everything is connected with the digestive system. Means we all know now by now that digestive system is so important, from where all our enzymes and vitamins and proteins get assimilated in our body and used for energy production and the storage of energy. So as they are right, Ayurvedic people, they are everything start with the digestive system, they say. Okay, then in the evening we will study one by one, and how our remedies are covered. Our remedies, I'll just say a few remedies which are there with us, like a colon, OM6. Colon covers many part of our digestive system. Hypo and hyperglycemia, and that it covers the insulin, pancreatin, and that portion of our pancreas. And digestive psychosomatic, there it covers the vagus nerve, pancreatic juice, and pancreas and duodenum. So, and the small intestine, and the small intestine, and the liver and gallbladder. With all these, it makes the complete our digestive system, how it is covered and what are the disorder we will study. Okay, thank you for being with me for this period. We will see in the evening. Okay, if anybody has got something urgent, they can be at the spare. Okay, I am definitely going to give you the recorded version. But if you all attend, I'll be very glad to interact. Okay, if possible, please attend. Otherwise, anyway, you will be having the recorded version. Is it a convenient time for you? 4 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Convenient, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your precious time, and we'll study.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, sir.